Alright, welcome to another episode of Alan Fixed It. Today we'll be replacing an alternator on a 2007 Acura MDX. This would be the same or very close to the same for a Honda Pilot in the same generation and body style. Although the engines are slightly different, the Pilots run a 3.5 liter, this one runs a 3.7. They use the same alternator. So this vehicle was showing a check charging system error as well as a battery light. Along with that came a loud whine from the alternator pulley. Upon further inspection, we found that the vehicle was only charging at about 11.5 volts. A healthy alternator is going to be putting close to 14 or above. Some people would say 13.5 or above is okay. I like to see them right around 14. And so we know that this alternator is bad because we checked the charging on it. Upon further inspection with a stethoscope, we were able to pinpoint that the bearing on this alternator is going bad with the loud whining that was associated. Looking down here, I'll see if you can see it, but the alternator is located, let's see here, see if we can get you a good image here. Right there you can see that this alternator, it's kind of hard to see, is actually caked in mud. This most likely could be the reason that this alternator failed. It could have overheated. Alternators have vents in them to keep them cool. This one might have baked itself because of the mud cake. I don't know what happened or why this is covered in mud. That could be a reason. The other thing is sometimes alternators just wear out. So first things first, we are going to take this plastic cover off. Comes off pretty simple. There's these little flathead little clips. You just turn them usually about 1/4 of a turn and they'll pop off. Looks like this one just has 2 in the front and then it most likely just clips in the back. We'll get that off and then we'll get a better look. Alright, quick tip. Run down to your local auto parts store and rent this tool for this job. This is called a serpentine belt tool, and essentially what it does is it gives you access in a really tight space to get to the tensioner. You could try it with an open-end wrench or a box-end wrench or a socket, but generally speaking they don't have a very long handle and you don't have very much leverage without adding a pipe or something. In a vehicle like this where the engine is not forward facing, very difficult to get leverage on something like that. There's just not room. So this cost me I think $30, and then when you return it you get all the money back. So not a big deal there. It's got crow's feet in it. It's got some shallows. I ended up having to use one of my own shallow 14 millimeters because it doesn't come with 14 millimeter in the sockets. It has one here, but I just couldn't get the angle right to get it in. But worked like a charm, gave me all the room I needed to make the belt on and off real easy. Alright, this is what it looks like with the cover off. This is your intake manifold and your plenum. Right below here, you can get a little bit better look at that alternator. Right there where the belt makes that loop. Sorry, my camera is not too great to zoom in on that. What we're going to do here is there's actually a tensioner. You can kind of see that bolt right down there. You'll see a pulley with a bolt sticking out just to the left of the alternator. We're actually going to put a 14 millimeter wrench on that and twist on it to relieve the pressure of this belt. This belt also, as you can kind of see there, needs to be replaced as well. We've got some breakage, and some of the ribs on it are starting to crack. So we're going to replace this belt at the same time. In order to just make this easier on me, I'm going to remove this overflow tank here. This overflow tank is held on by one clip there, and then in the back it just slid into a little groove. So I'm going to remove this just to give me some room. I'm sure that I'm going to need it when I'm down here in front of this alternator, as well as getting to that tensioner is going to make my life a lot easier. So I'm going to pop that clip out and remove this tank and then go from there. Okay, so we removed this tank, super easy, pulled that one clip, and then you can kind of see that where it slides into down there. There's a little clip on it. I hit it with a flathead screwdriver and it came right out. That gave me a lot more room to get down into here. I'm gonna see if I can show you kind of where we're at here. So there is our tensioner that we're gonna need to relieve, and here's kind of a close-up of our muddy covered alternator. That's what we're gonna be taking off. So first and foremost, we've got to relieve pressure on this belt tensioner. I'm gonna put a wrench on it, and I'm actually gonna screw it counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, I know seems wrong, but these are reverse threaded so that they don't unscrew. So counterclockwise is gonna give me the ability to get that off of there, to relieve that belt pressure, to be able to get that out of there. So we'll go from there. Alright, so we got our belt off. I ended up just releasing this power steering pump reservoir just to kind of give me some more room. My wrench, I need a little bit of length on it, so I just attached a pipe. You might be able to double wrench it, interlock them together and wrench that up, but you just pull back and then you can pop that belt off. If you're going to keep the belt, you can just kind of tuck it to the side. If you're going to replace it, you might as well just pull it all the way out. But for this, we have the alternator all ready to go. And to kind of show you how this alternator's put on right here, we have the one we're going to put on right here. So the way that it's in there is just like that. So you have a bolt on the top and a bolt on the bottom that holds it in. On the back, you'll see that you have your power connection and your plug-in. So we have two bolts we have to get to. On this one, you can't really see them because of the dirt, but because we have our replacement right here, we're going to just knock the dirt off of that top and unbolt it from there. Luckily, we won't have to take off this wire harness or anything right here, because that bolt actually just goes right into the top. You can kind of see the top of the bolt there. So I'm just going to get down there and knock some of that dirt off and bust those two bolts out. And then we'll have to get to the back here and get it unplugged and things. For this one, a little side note. Sometimes these can be really, really expensive brand new. This customer opted to go with a used one just for cost and speed of getting the part. Check your warranties on your local parts yards. We use a really good one here that carries an actually pretty substantial warranty on their used electronic parts. So we're pretty confident in putting this one back in, knowing obviously that you know, it has a warranty and that it is used. But for a quarter of the price, we could replace it 3 or 4 times and still be ahead of the game. That's up to you though. If you want to use new parts, that's your call. I've had pretty good luck with using this parts yard here close to us with their warranty. So what we're going to do now is just knock those bolts loose, get those plug-ins off, and we'll resume at that point. Alright, well, I wanted to show you this. So I got the top bolt off. Let's see if I can get you. Right there, top bolt is off, and then along the back here kind of facing the radiator, there'll be a nut right there. It's 12 millimeter, as well as the bolts on the front are 12 millimeter. And you just pull that cover back, break that nut loose. It's kind of a tight fit, but you can get a ratchet in there if you face it towards the passenger side of the vehicle. And then on the back side, there is a plug-in, and that plug-in has a little rubber cover, and it's just a little squeeze plug. You can just squeeze it and pop it right out of there after you pull the cover back. So now that we've got the electronics disconnected and the top bolt off, we're just gonna get down to the bottom here. And you can kind of see that bolt right there between the belt. That's the last bolt. We're gonna break that one loose, and then we'll be able to pull this dirty alternator out of here. Alright, so quick correction from my previous statement. The top bolt is 12 millimeter, the bottom bolt's a little bit bigger, and it's a 14 millimeter. Once you have it free, you kind of have to shake it back and forth, and I did end up removing this bracket that was bolted just above it to free it up. It was just one more 12 millimeter bolt, and that allowed me to move that out of the way so that we could get it loose. It's a little bit of a tight fit here, so you want to be real careful around that AC line that you don't puncture it. But after some finagling, the best thing that I found is to keep it in its original orientation, maybe turn it a quarter of a turn right or left, pull it straight forward underneath this hose, and then turn it up. Now, if you remember, we've already released this clip here on the power steering pump reservoir so that we can move that out of the way. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do, and I'm hoping that this works, is I'm going to remove this little 10 millimeter bolt right here that's holding this AC line, and probably that one down there as well, if you can kind of see it down there. I'm hoping that that gives me enough wiggle room, sorry about that, on this side to move this hose to the right and pull this alternator up through the space that that creates, because there's no way it's going to fit through this side. So I think I'm going to have to move this hose to the right and pull it up to the left, kind of weaving my way through those power steering lines. I'm going to give that a try and let you know. Alright, so I got those two bolts disconnected, and that actually gives me quite a bit of play in that hose. So I'm hoping that'll give me enough room here. I'm going to need both hands to pull it out, so I'll have to put the camera down. Alright, well that worked. Worked on the first try. It definitely wasn't easy. I got a little scrape here on the edge of my plastic, but nothing major. As you can see, man, it left a pile of dirt getting that out, so you're going to want to make sure to clean that up before you install your new one. Use compressed air or a vacuum or whatever you got to do to get that cleaned up down there. You don't want all that dirt just sitting under there, especially around that belt. That could destroy your new belt. So just like I say, I think that was probably the best way to do that. I didn't damage any hoses or anything. I did have to kind of finagle my way around this bottom power steering hose, but worked out pretty well. So as you can see here, here's a little bit of a closer look at our bad alternator covered and caked in dirt. I'm sure that that at least contributed to its failure. That's not good for it. It really needs to be able to breathe, otherwise they'll overheat and cake themselves. So now we're gonna do reverse order to get this other one in, and after we clean that up, of course, and then we'll go from there. All right. As normal, Putting it back together was about half as much time. Everything just went back together reverse of installation. Got it back together, got all these brackets put back on, all of our connections. Sorry, I know you can't see much there, but I've got it plugged back in there, and the main wire put back on with the nut underneath that cover. I've got it all just put back together, like I said, the same way it was taken apart. At this point, you're just going to reroute that belt the way that it was. You may have a belt routing diagram somewhere under the hood. I don't on this one. If not, it's a quick Google. Pretty easy. I'll see if I can throw one into the video here so you can see it. But we're just going to grab that tensioner, pull it back, and put the belt back on. And we should be good to go. All right, got it all put back together. Test fired it, no more charge light. Everything's charging correctly. Got our new belt on. The other one was looking pretty bad. Just remember to put back anything you took apart. We've got our AC lines put back together, our power steering pump reattached, our reservoir reattached. Started it up, no more whine. So good luck. Hopefully you have as good a luck as we did. We got it fixed on the first try.